Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into a really unsettling case, one that just completely shattered the image of, safety and stability in this quiet, pretty affluent Utah neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the story of Matthew Johnson and Jennifer Gledhill.
Exactly. And our sources really paint this picture of a couple who seem to have it all, right? You've got this $1 million home in Cottonwood Heights, Utah.
Yeah, the quintessential American dream on the surface.
Right. Matthew, he's 51, a highly respected Green Beret National Guardsman. Jennifer, 42, seems like this devoted mom to their three young kids, 5, 7, and 11.
And it's that stark contrast, isn't it, between that image, that perfect facade, and the horrifying reality that came out after this frantic late-night phone call. That's really the core of what we're diving into today.
It really is.
The sources lay out this picture of just sudden, calculated darkness. So our mission here is to really examine the evidence piece by piece and understand how this relationship, this seemingly supportive military marriage, became so highly dysfunctional, to use the court's own word.
Yeah, that phrase is key.
So dysfunctional that it ended not in divorce court like you'd expect, but with a cold-blooded, meticulously planned murder and cover-up.
The sense of betrayal here is it's staggering. We've seen statements from Matthew's friends, his fellow soldiers, as guys who'd had dinner with them, welcome Jennifer into their circle, And then they have to process the fact that she was the one responsible for his death.
It must have just blindsided everyone.
Completely. The community, the military unit, and externally the story was Jennifer's nice, kind of quiet, a homebody, the supportive military wife archetype, Matthew. Brilliant, reliable, this decorated soldier.
But underneath, as we dig into the sources, the reality was a marriage that was just. It was functionally over. And the breakdown wasn't sudden. It was this slow, toxic collapse that really picked up speed towards divorce in the summer of 2024.
Right.
And when Matthew finally decided, okay, it's time to end this, that's when Jennifer's facade seems to have just completely crumbled. And that leads us straight into this judicial intervention that ultimately failed to stop the tragedy.
Okay, let's unpack that collapse, the marital breakdown, and that critical court timeline, because it really sets the stage for the premeditation that follows, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So by midsummer 2024, specifically around July, Matthew had come to the conclusion that, this is it. The relationship couldn't be fixed.
He was ready for a divorce, ready to move on.
Yeah, and he told Jennifer that. He communicated it clearly.
And her reaction wasn't acceptance.
Not at all. This is where her approach to conflict really becomes, telling. Instead of starting divorce proceedings or, negotiating, she went straight for legal maneuvers designed to grab control. The protective order.
Exactly. In August 2024, she filed for a temporary protective order against Matthew. She claimed he was a threat, that she needed the court to protect her.
Which, is a vital tool in genuine domestic violence cases.
Of course.
But it can also be, misused in high-stakes situations like custody disputes.
And that seems to be what the judge suspected here, because what's fascinating is the judge didn't just sign off on it.
No. This hearing became crucial.
It really did. This protective order hearing happened just days before the murder. And on September 16th, 2024, 3rd District Commissioner Russell Minus looked at all the evidence and made a critical ruling.
He dismissed it.
He dismissed the protective order. The court found that no abuse, as legally defined, had actually occurred.
How did the judge reach that conclusion? Because she must have presented something.
Oh, she did. But here's the insight into the judge's thinking. To get a protective order in Utah, you generally need to show actual physical harm, or a real imminent threat, or a pattern of serious harassment that makes you genuinely fear for your safety.
Commissioner Minus found Jennifer's claims didn't meet that bar. And ironically, the evidence she submitted, like video supposedly showing Matthew being aggressive, they actually backfired. The judge noted the video showed her engaging right back at him. She wasn't shrinking away in fear. She was unafraid and equally confrontational.
So her own evidence undermined her claim of being a victim. It showed her as an active participant in these arguments.
Precisely. She was part of the conflict, not just a passive recipient. And the commissioner didn't stop there. He looked closely at their communication.
The text messages.
Yes, a whole trove of text messages. And those texts revealed this really disturbing pattern, but it was psychological warfare coming from Jennifer.
Wow.
The commissioner specifically wrote that her texts were repeatedly belittling, demeaning, berating. And this is crucial. He found she was actively trying to goad him into a violent response.
So she wasn't trying to de-escalate, she was trying to provoke him.
It appears so. Trying to provoke something she could then use legally, maybe to justify the protective order, gain leverage in the inevitable divorce, custody battles.
She was building a case, essentially, but the judge saw right through it.
He did. And that failure, the court refusing to grant her that control she was seeking, seems to have been the absolute turning point. The final straw, perhaps.
And didn't the commissioner say something almost prophetic in his ruling?
He did. It's haunting, really. Maybe sensing how volatile things were, he wrote this assessment. The conduct of the parties over the past several months is representative of a highly dysfunctional marriage, bringing out the worst in the parties.
Okay, so acknowledging the toxicity.
Yes, and then he added, clearly suggestive that an action for divorce should have been filed long before reaching the current state of affairs.
Wow. So he saw the dysfunction, knew it was bad, but legally, his hands were tied on the protective order.
Exactly. He validated the danger, the toxicity, but based on the specific legal standard for a protective order, he couldn't grant it. The court recognized the problem but couldn't shield Matthew from what happened next.
So the court confirms things are terrible, but offers no actual legal shield. Matthew's left exposed. Did his fear ramp up right after that ruling?
It seems so, absolutely. The documents, statements from friends, they show an immediate change in Matthew's behavior after that protective order was dismissed. He was deeply concerned.
Understandably.
Jennifer's behavior was described as really erratic, disturbing, especially considering her attempts to provoke him, and Matthew started actively sleeping elsewhere.
Where?
At a nearby National Guard facility. During his final weeks, he basically moved himself out. He sacrificed sleeping in his own $1 million home because he genuinely feared what Jennifer might do if he stayed there.
That says everything. A Green Beret feeling unsafe in his own house.
It speaks volumes about the atmosphere, the level of fear she had instilled in him by that point.
And that fear, it connects directly to this other layer, doesn't it? The motive, the double life.
Yes. Our sources make it clear. Jennifer was actively leading a double life. She was involved in this intense affair with another man.
An affair that apparently consumed her.
Completely, according to witnesses. Her attention, her affection, it was all focused there. And this man, her lover, he later becomes the key witness against her. Without him, the case might look very different.
So what's the prosecution's theory on the motive? Why murder instead of divorce?
It's chillingly straightforward, but it points to calculation. The theory is Jennifer killed Matthew because he found out about the affair. He likely confronted her, confirmed his suspicions, and she wanted total freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom to pursue this new relationship, this new life, without the messiness of a standard divorce. Meaning avoiding shared custody of their 3 kids, and avoiding the significant financial hit that comes with dissolving a marriage with substantial assets, like that $1 million home.
That just seems incredibly risky, though. I mean, murdering a Green Beret and trying to cover it up versus dealing with a divorce settlement and shared custody. The risk seems astronomically higher.
Logically, yes. But the sources suggest it wasn't just about the money now. It was about control and completely avoiding that shared future.
Control of the kids, control of the assets.
Exactly. For Jennifer, the thought of having to share custody, share assets, constantly interact with a man she now despised and who stood in the way of her new relationship, it seems that was just intolerable to her.
So the murder wasn't about avoiding some consequences. It was about avoiding all consequences. A total reset.
A radical attempt at a total reset, yeah. Severing all ties. She likely believed she could walk away with the kids, the assets, and just bury the past. Literally and figuratively.
And the timeline shows this wasn't some sudden heat-of-the-moment thing after that final argument. There was planning.
Oh, definitely. The sources detail specific preparations that point straight to methodical planning. Well, take September 19th, 2024. That's just 2 days before the murder. Jennifer actually showed her lover a loaded gun.
Which gun?
A Glock 19X, one she kept in their home. The sources describe it as her sort of demonstrating her familiarity with firearms.
Okay, so establishing capability, comfort level.
Right. It points towards her contemplating or at least preparing for lethal force. It puts the weapon in the picture beforehand.
And she also made sure the house would be empty, didn't she?
Yes. Critically, she arranged for their 3 children again, just 5, 7, and 11, to stay over at her parents' house that specific night.
The night she planned to kill their father.
Exactly. She ensured the kids wouldn't be there, wouldn't be witnesses. That level of cold calculation, planning around her own children, It's deeply disturbing.
So the stage was set. The final confrontation happens on the evening of September 20th.
Yes. Witnesses confirmed there was a heated argument that night. And Jennifer's own confession later confirmed why. He knew. Matthew had definitively discovered the truth about the affair. He was yelling at her because he knew she'd been sleeping with someone else. He had the proof.
And for Jennifer, that confrontation, him knowing the truth, that sealed it. He was now an obstacle that had to be removed.
That appears to be the grim reality of it. And the argument ended, but the plan moved forward.
So the argument ends, night falls, and then, in the early hours of September 21st,
the sources confirmed it was an execution. Not a struggle, not a fight.
She didn't use the Glock she showed her lover.
No. She took Matthew's own 9mm handgun, his weapon, and she shot him in the head while he was asleep in their bed, in the master bedroom.
Completely vulnerable, unaware, using his own gun against him.
It just adds another layer of coldness, doesn't it? That choice of weapon, the timing while he was asleep, it screams premeditation. It required getting the gun, bringing it into the bedroom, waiting until he was defenseless.
And then, immediately after, the disposal began.
Yes. What happened next, according to her confession, just speaks volumes about her composure and her capacity for this kind of horrific task. She immediately started the systematic process of getting rid of the body.
This is the part with the rooftop storage container, right? I mean, that seems physically impossible for one person.
It's staggering. But the sources confirm she managed it alone. Think about the effort involved. She put Matthew's body, a grown man, a soldier, into a large, rigid rooftop cargo box.
Like the kind you put on top of an SUV.
Exactly. Then, using sheer force, she somehow dragged or slid that container with his body inside down the stairs of their home.
That must have caused damage.
Almost certainly. Scraping walls, floors. Then she wrestled this incredibly heavy, bulky container into the back of their minivan. Alone. It was clearly a massive physical undertaking, all designed to contain and conceal the body immediately before daylight.
The level of focus, of determination, it's chilling. And this is all happening before dawn breaks.
Yes, and her next move was about creating a false timeline. Misdirection.
Moving his truck.
Right. Around 6 a.m., she drove Matthew's truck to a nearby neighborhood, several blocks away, and just abandoned it.
To make it look like he left on his own. Or got picked up.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Create confusion, create a gap between when he actually died and when people might realize he was missing.
And then she drives north with the body still in the minivan.
Exactly. With the body concealed, she drove north, heading towards Davis County, maybe further. Eventually, she buried him in a shallow grave.
At a location still unknown.
Still unknown, to this day. The secrecy, the remoteness of wherever she chose. It's why search teams haven't found him. That's a huge ongoing part of this story.
So she returns home, the body is disposed of, the truck is staged, now the cover-up shifts indoors.
Yes, to destroying evidence. She launched into this incredibly extensive cleanup operation. Again, methodical.
Focusing on the master bedroom.
Absolutely. The crime scene, she used bleach on the walls.
Yeah.
Used tons of carpet cleaning supplies all over the master bedroom floor, trying to neutralize, remove any trace blood, DNA, anything.
And the mattress.
The mattress, the centerpiece of the crime. She couldn't clean it, obviously, so she ordered a brand new mattress to replace the blood-soaked one.
And the timing on that order is just damning.
It really is. She ordered the new mattress on September 24th. That's just 3 days after the murder. And it was delivered and installed on September 26th.
Before he was even officially reported missing.
Exactly. She was literally erasing the physical evidence of the murder scene, replacing the bed where her husband died with a new one, acting as if her plan was already successful. Ready to move on, sleeping in that room again.
But despite all that planning, all that cleanup, she made the one mistake that blew it all wide open.
She talked. She confessed.
To the lover.
Yes. On September 22nd, just before midnight, so the day after the murder and disposal, she showed up at her lover's home. And she told him everything.
Just laid it all out.
Apparently so. The murder itself, how she did it, the disposal, putting the body in the container, burying it, the massive cleanup she'd just finished.
And the sources emphasize how casual she seemed about it.
Terrifyingly casual. He noticed bruises on her body, which isn't surprising given the physical exertion involved in moving the body in container.
Right.
When he asked about the bruises, she just explained matter-of-factly, I got those burying my husband and cleaning the house. Just like she was talking about gardening.
That calm demeanor describing such horrific acts.
It profoundly disturbed the lover. He realized, likely in that moment, that he wasn't just dealing with someone having an affair. He was dealing with someone capable of extreme cold-blooded violence.
And that fear pushed him to act. He didn't just keep quiet.
No. He made a very difficult and probably very frightening decision. He decided to become an informant.
So he started gathering evidence.
Immediately, he started taking screenshots of their text message conversations. And crucially, he decided to record their next phone call.
That took guts, considering what she'd just confessed to.
Immense guts. But that recording provided the single most chilling piece of evidence, the most raw insight into her psychological state.
What did she say? He told her, essentially, "I'm scared of you now. What you did frightens me." And her response. It was this deliberate attempt to dehumanize Matthew, to justify it all.
What was the quote?
She said something like, "Wow, if you think I could even hurt a fly." Then she added, like, he's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't mad.
He wasn't a person anymore. That's terrifying, that cognitive switch.
Exactly. It suggests she'd completely reframed him in her mind, stripped him of his humanity, which maybe made the act possible for her. If you convince yourself the target isn't human, it removes those moral barriers.
It's not just justification after the fact, it's evidence of the mindset that enabled the murder itself.
Precisely. Prosecutors can point to that as proof of extreme indifference, premeditation. And the bizarre revelations didn't stop there.
The Queen of Hearts thing.
Yeah, this really strange ideology she shared in that same recorded conversation. She claimed she'd always said she was like the Queen of Hearts in past lives.
Alice in Wonderland, off at their heads. Sort of, but with this added layer of self-righteousness. She said, if we could just round up the scum of this earth and put them on an island or just kill them all, I could shape this country back to a good place.
Wow. So she sees herself as this arbiter, someone who gets to decide who's scum and deserves elimination.
It paints a picture of a very grandiose, disturbed mindset. Someone who feels entitled to judge life and death. And clearly, by September 21st, she had decided Matthew fell into that scum category.
The irony is it's jarring. She's declaring herself the Queen of Hearts, ready to kill off the scum, but then she asks her lover not to think of her as a monster.
Right, in the same breath. Don't think I'm a monster, remember who I was before I told you this. It's this bizarre psychological split.
She wants to be the judge and executioner, but also wants empathy and understanding from the person she confessed to.
It shows this profound inability to reconcile her actions with normal morality. She wants justification, not judgment.
And again, we have to stress the timing. This confession, the not a person comment, the Queen of Hearts stuff, all happened on September 22nd.
Before Matthew was officially reported missing, she was already talking about him in the past tense. He wasn't Matt anymore.
So, when did she finally report him missing?
Not until 6 days after that confession. On September 28th, that's when she called the police.
And what was her story then?
She spun this tale that Matthew had told her he was leaving for about a week and, conveniently, had specifically told her not to call him, trying to explain away his absence and her delay.
But the clock was already ticking against her.
It was, because the Utah National Guard, his unit, they were already concerned. A Green Beret doesn't just go AWOL.
Right, that's highly unusual.
Extremely. So they had actually started their own inquiries, their own search efforts, back on September 23rd when Matthew failed to report for duty.
So the official investigation was essentially already underway before she even called.
In a way, yes. And then, on October 2nd, the lover contacted the police. He handed over the recordings, the texts, the timeline, everything.
And that broke the case open?
Wide open. It led directly to the search warrant for the house. And very quickly after that, the arrest of Jennifer Gledhill for first-degree murder and obstruction of justice.
So police get the warrant, they go into the house on September 28th, and the physical evidence starts lining up exactly with what Jennifer confessed.
Immediately. They went straight to the master bedroom, and it was obvious.
What did they find?
A large, undeniable blood stain on the carpet, right under where the bed would have been. Exactly where she said the murder happened.
Consistent with a gunshot wound to the head.
Yes. And they also found blood traces on the actual bed frame slats. Plus, the whole house, especially that room, just reeked of bleach.
Overpowering.
The cleanup attempt.
Clearly. Investigators documented reddish-brown spots, consistent with bloodstains attempted to be cleaned on the walls, on the bed frame, even on the window blinds. Remnants of that frantic scrubbing. And the brand-new mattress stood out like a sore thumb.
Absolutely. Delivered just 2 days before the search warrant. That's damning evidence of trying to dispose of the primary crime scene evidence.
So the physical scene matched the confession, and technology backed it up too.
The GPS data from Jennifer's phone was crucial. It essentially drew a map of her actions after the murder.
Tracking her movements.
Precisely. The phone records confirmed her movements during those critical hours on September 21st and 22nd. It tracked her going to the exact area where Matthew Kruk was later found abandoned around 6 a.m.
Staging the disappearance.
Yes. And then, critically, it tracked her phone traveling north towards Davis County and potentially beyond. That route matches her confessed burial journey. Even without the body, it provides this powerful circumstantial map of her disposal trip.
But the cover-up didn't end with Jennifer, did it? Her parents got involved.
Yes, that's another significant turn. On October 24th, weeks after Jennifer's arrest, the police arrested her parents, Thomas Gledhill, 71, and Rosalie Gledhill, 67.
What were the charges?
Both charged with 4 counts of obstruction of justice. This wasn't just passive knowledge. The police believe they actively helped conceal the crime.
How? What did they allegedly do?
Well, investigators determined the parents spent over 5 hours at Jennifer's house in late September, during that critical cleanup period.
But they claim they were just there briefly.
Right. Initially, they told police they were only there for less than an hour, just grabbing a few things for Jennifer. The 5-hour time frame suggests much more involvement.
And Rosalie, the mother, her actions were pretty specific, weren't they?
Very specific and very calculated, according to the charges. Rosalie was the one who actually purchased the new mattress.
Getting rid of the key evidence.
Exactly. And perhaps even more damning, she remotely wiped her cell phone. She initiated a factory reset, deleting all data, locations, calls, texts from that crucial time period when she was likely helping Jennifer.
That sounds like textbook obstruction. Destroying evidence, lying to investigators.
That's what the charges allege. These actions directly impeded the investigation.
And the father, Thomas, he made some kind of slip-up during questioning.
He did. A crucial, seemingly inadvertent admission. When police were asking him about the master bedroom and the cleanup, Thomas Gledhill said something like, "I did not go in where the incident happened."
Where the incident happened, implying he knew something specific happened there.
Precisely. It revealed he had prior knowledge that a serious crime, the incident, had occurred in that specific room. Knowledge he likely only had if Jennifer or Rosalie had told him about the murder and the cleanup. It suggests awareness and concealment.
And finally, there is something about a gun box.
Yes. During a search of the parents' own home, police found the empty box for that Glock 19X handgun.
The gun Jennifer had shown her lover just before the murder?
That's the one. The empty box was found wrapped in a child's onesie, tucked away inside a plastic storage tote near where Jennifer was staying at their house after the murder.
So, hiding evidence related to a potential weapon.
Another specific act of obstruction, yes. It links the parents directly to concealing items potentially related to the crime or Jennifer's planning. So the prosecution feels they have a strong case for obstruction against the parents based on resetting phones, lying about their time at the house, hiding that gun box. All clear attempts to hinder the murder investigation. But through all these legal proceedings, the arrests, the charges, the most immediate painful reality is that Matthew Johnson's body is still missing.
Months and months of searching, right?
Correct.
Huge areas.
Huge areas. Davis County, Weber County, all the way up to Box Elder County near the Utah-Idaho border. They just haven't found him.
And it's not for lack of trying. We're talking dozens of searchers.
Over 70 people involved at various times, law enforcement, trained volunteers, and heartbreakingly, Matthew's own military buddies. His friends have organized their own searches.
One of his friends, Kevin Thompson, was quoted saying, "It keeps them up at night, just the not knowing where he is."
That uncertainty is agonizing. Knowing he's out there somewhere, in some unmarked grave, it's brutal for the family and friends.
But even without the body, the physical evidence trail keeps getting stronger.
Yes. Prosecutors recently announced a really significant new piece of evidence. Remember the rooftop storage container she confessed to using?
Yeah.
They found one. Found a vehicle storage container floating in some body of water, and testing confirmed it contained Matthew Johnson's blood inside.
Wow. So that directly corroborates her confession about the method of transport and disposal.
Exactly. It provides a direct biological link between Jennifer, that container, and the act of moving and hiding her husband's body.
So where does Jennifer's case stand now? She pleaded not guilty.
Yes, pleaded not guilty to everything. And the charges are extensive. First-degree murder, obviously. 5 counts of obstruction of justice. Possession of a controlled substance that was found during one of the searches. Abuse or desecration of a human body. and tampering with a witness, likely related to her interactions with the lover after the confession.
That charge, abuse or desecration of a human body, that specifically addresses the disposal, even without recovery.
Yes. It's filed precisely for situations like this, when a body has been hidden, moved improperly, treated without dignity. The law recognizes the offense against the deceased themselves, even if their remains haven't been found.
So, legally, how does the prosecution overcome that classic hurdle, no body, no crime?
It's definitely a challenge, but it's not insurmountable, especially today. While finding the corpus delicti, the body, is always preferred, modern courts allow convictions based on overwhelming circumstantial evidence.
And they feel they have that here.
They believe so. They're relying heavily on, really, a three-pronged approach. First, Jennifer's detailed confession to the lover recorded, specific chilling.
Okay.
Second, the technological evidence.
Yeah.
The GPS data tracking her phone to the truck drop-off site and along that northern burial route. And third, all the physical evidence found at the home. The blood stains, the bleach smell, the brand new mattress, plus the blood found in that recovered storage container. Together, they argue, this paints a complete, undeniable picture of the crime, the method, and the cover-up, strong enough to convict even without finding Matthew's remains.
And Jennifer was denied bail, right? She's still in custody.
Correct. Denied bail. The prosecution argued successfully she was both a flight risk and potentially dangerous.
Based on what?
They specifically cited that threat she made to her lover, that she would shoot herself before she ever went to jail. Prosecutors used that to argue she was desperate, potentially volatile, and shouldn't be released. The judge agreed.
So she remains locked up. When is the trial set for?
The trial is currently scheduled to begin December 8th, 2025. It's expected to last about 8 days.
And there's also this whole financial angle with the life insurance.
Yes, another layer of complexity. Matthew had a $500,000 life insurance policy through Credential Life Insurance, and Jennifer was the beneficiary.
Which, adds another potential facet to the motive, perhaps.
It certainly complicates things now. The insurance company, Credential, has basically gone to court and said, look, we can't just pay this $500,000 to someone charged with murdering the policyholder.
Makes sense.
So they've asked the court to decide who should get the money. If Jennifer is convicted, she almost certainly forfeits any right to it under what are called Slayer statutes.
Slayer statutes.
Yeah, laws that prevent someone from profiting financially from a murder they committed. So if she's found guilty, that $500,000 would likely go to Matthew's estate, probably benefiting their children eventually. But that legal fight over the money is still ongoing.
It's just layer upon layer. But ultimately, the real cost here, it's the children.
Absolutely. 3 young kids who, in an instant, lost both parents. Their father murdered, their mother imprisoned, accused of doing it. It's just an unimaginable tragedy for them.
And Matthew's family, his military community, their main focus now is just finding him.
That's their primary plea. They've issued statements saying they just hope, desperately, that Jennifer, or maybe her parents, someone, will finally reveal where Matthew's body is buried, so they can bring him home, give him a proper burial, and find some measure of closure. It's not just about legal justice anymore. It's about basic human dignity for him and peace for them. #Outroad history.
When you step back and look at this case, it really is just a horrifying study in calculation, supreme self-interest driving every decision.
It seems to have started with this plan, this cold-blooded decision to eliminate Matthew because he was an obstacle to her new relationship, an obstacle to the life she wanted, free from divorce, free from shared custody.
Yeah.
And that confession, it reveals more than just cruelty. It shows this deep psychological toxicity. She didn't just kill him, she had to mentally erase him first, right? Convince herself he wasn't a person anymore.
To justify destroying her entire family.
It seems that way. And, justice might eventually be served in a courtroom, but the wounds here, the wounds caused by these incredibly selfish, grandiose choices, they're never going to fully heal.
Especially not while he's still missing.
Exactly. That emotional pain is just compounded every single day by the fact that Matthew Johnson, a father, a dedicated soldier, is still lying in some unknown, unmarked grave out there in northern Utah.
So Jennifer Gledhill is in custody, bail denied. We talked about those incredibly chilling things she said to her lover. Matthew was not a person anymore. Her whole Queen of Hearts fantasy about eliminating the scum of this earth.
Yeah.
So here's something to think about. If she truly saw herself that way, as this righteous judge with the power to eliminate people she deemed unworthy, what does that say about her final plea to her lover? That desperate request not to be seen as a monster? What level of just, profound deception, maybe even psychopathy, is revealed when someone who commits such violence then demands empathy and connection?
It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? The killer who wants to be both justified in her actions and absolved of monstrosity at the same time. It leaves you wondering about the capacity for self-deception and the chilling disconnect between her actions and her desired image.